Hey, it's Nick Capozzi. Thursday, June 12th. This is Razzball Radio. We got a great show for you. I mean, every day is a great show. But we got the guru on today, and it's always a good time to have the pride of Bangor, Maine. No, you're not from Bangor. You're from Bahaba.
You are correct, sir.
Welcome to Razzball Radio. Of course, you can follow him on Twitter at TheGuruGS. So, listen, this is a fantasy sports show, so we're not going to talk about the World Cup of Soccer. However, you got a pick to go deep?
The World Cup?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's
Okay.
soccer. It's the other kind of football.
Well, this is how I feel about the World Cup being jammed down my throat this week. You know, does anybody remember when our school systems were invaded by the socialists that wanted to convert us to the metric system? That didn't work. We Americans were not fans of change that makes sense. So the game of soccer for me, you know, we have our own football here, and it's way better than yours by a kilometer.
All right. Okay, so you're telling me you're not following. You don't have a trendy pick.
I don't have a trendy pick. Go Ecuador.
Yeah, actually, Ecuador's in it, so there you go. Good call. All right, back to the fantasy. So let's get down to business here. We're going to play Jam and Cram in a little bit, which we usually play with you. But there's a couple things I want to talk about that's happening in the news today. One is Adam Wainwright's elbow. Now, tomorrow is Friday the 13th. I expect another UCL apocalypse happening. I'm afraid to, I was going to say open the paper, but maybe open up my web browser and see what's happening in the fantasy news. Are you concerned? I mean, obviously there's concern. He's getting an MRI in his elbow. What's your take on it, I guess, is a better way to ask the question.
Well, the way things have gone for pitchers this year, of course I'm concerned. You know, I'm prepared to slide open the boxcar door at Terminus and just throw Wainwright in with the rest of Rick Grimes in the gang. You know, it can't be good if he's headed, you know, for the MRI and they're talking elbow and trying to, you know, sell it off that he has tennis elbow. It's not a good sign.
Yeah, no, it is very worrisome. If there's a guy in your league maybe that is I don't know, doing some volunteer work in Africa and is not able to follow, you know, the daily goings on of fantasy baseball, maybe trade Wainwright right now if you could.
Good luck.
Hey, speaking of pitchers, I'm going to go with a pitcher here who is not injured, but what is the deal with Justin Verlander? I mean, what happened to him?
I blame it all on Kate Upton. I believe it's all her fault. You know, the guy is just, you know, completely wore out. I'm not really sure. You know, the velocity his last few starts seems fine. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I'll have to dig into the numbers a little bit more on Verlander to see what's going on with him. But he's getting hit. That seems to be the biggest problem.
Remember when Matt Kemp was dating Rihanna?
Yes.
And then they broke up and he did really well. I don't wish breaking up with Kate Upton on any man, but as a guy,
do.
as a guy who is Verlander in a lot of leagues, you know what I think it is? I think he's straining his hands from playing with her balloons because it was her birthday yesterday, right? So I'm sure she had balloons at the party.
That could be. When it comes to Kate Upton, I'm gonna say dump that chunky six. She's a cram.
Okay, another guy that there are some questions with, of course, is Carlos Beltran, who, look, he's a serviceable hitter when he's healthy. They're saying he's throwing right now, but he's got a brace. I mean, you know, I'm no doctor, and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but if you need a brace to throw, come on, man. Are you holding him, or is he you know, in that same boxcar?
Yeah, he throw him in the boxcar. I've got no use for Beltran. I stayed away from him completely during the draft. You know, I tend to, you know, draft guys younger with upside than, you know, old guys like Beltran, who's, you know, currently shuffling around the Yankees clubhouse in his walker. Oh no, he just fell down. He tripped over the cat. He's on the DL for 30 days.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah, get him one of those life alert things.
Hey, you know who's had 3 quality starts in a row?
Billy Swift.
Actually, Marcus Stroman. So I'm just throwing that out there. Marcus Stroman, 3 quality starts in a row. I've been saying this guy, if he gets a shot in the rotation, he's got a great 4-pitch mix. His stats don't look sexy because, they were bringing him out of the bullpen. He's got to use his 4 pitches to be really effective. 3 quality starts in a row, 20% owned, so you might want to consider him. Another guy, too, who I think is under-owned considering what he's doing, 55%, is Phil Hughes. What a free agent signing for the Twinkies there. Looks like they did something right.
Yeah, those are 2 guys we've talked about here on the Jam and the Cram. Stroman, I mean, the fastball tops, mid upper 90s, and he's got just a nasty slider. I like him a lot. And Hughes, man, I don't know what in the name of bizarro world is going on here, but what a comeback from Hughes. And, he went out there and beat the Yankees, and they must have been real pleased about that.
Yeah, I think he likes the no pressure of Minnesota.
I think it's the perfect place for him.
If New York is a fishbowl, then Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes. I wonder if anyone's come up with that slogan before. That'd be a good marketing slogan for the state. Okay. Real quick, just before we go to break, one more guy I want to mention too, and I'm just kind of curious what the issue is. Yordano Ventura he was a preseason darling, had an amazing April, had a not amazing May. He's pitching really well again, but the Ks aren't there. He looks healthy, but what's up with the lack of strikeouts?
I think the Royals have asked him to, dial it back a little bit. He was throwing really hard there at the beginning, and I'm sure the Royals are concerned with, the year of the UCL as anybody else is. And I think they've asked him to dial it back just a little bit, and it's cutting down on the Ks.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, listen, listen, I hope you're listening, or else you're just looking at this with the volume off, which doesn't make a lot of sense because it's not like Guru and I are pretty. We will be right back with more Razzball Radio. Sorry, Guru, you're kind of pretty. You know what? I'm just going to move on.
I like to think of myself as almost elegant.
Okay, we'll be back with more Guru. Right after this, we'll play a little bit of Jam and Cram here on Razzball Radio. All right, now it's time for everybody's favorite game show. It is time to jam it or cram it with the Guru. All right, buddy. So, of course, Jam and Cram is our buy-sell game because really, at heart, Guru and I are radio DJs, man. We're kind of old-school radio guys, which is what people are always like, Nick, why is this Razzball Radio on TV, on the internet? It's a radio-style show, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
We're radio guys, man. We're not pretty enough for TV. Man, I keep bringing that up today. Okay, let's start with some Jammer Crams for Thursday, June 12th. Let's dig a little bit deeper here on Lonnie Chisenhall. I mean, obviously the guy is hitting off the charts. He's really hot. Couldn't hit lefties, but it's a small sample size, only like 20-something at bats, but he's hitting like 520 against lefties this year. So looks like Francona's either picking his spots with putting him in the lineup against lefties, or he found some magical lamp and rubbed it, and a genie came out. So short of the lamp theory, dig a little deeper for me on Mr. Chisenhall.
All right. I had a little Twitter war this week with a Razzballer that was basically nominating Chisenhall for the Hall of Fame. And I said that the regression fairies they're due any minute. Unfortunately, I said that on Sunday because, Monday Chisenhall went 5 for 5 with 3 homers and 9 RBI. And his ownership immediately shot up from about 55% to I think it's well over 90% now. If you want to pick up Chisenhall, it'll be tough. I mean, he's having quite the year. 20 more at bats, and he's going to be leading the league in hitting. Right now, he's at 388. He's got 7 homers, 32 RBI, and 30 runs. He's also slugging .618, and his weighted on base average. And I love the WOBA, Nick.
WOBA.
His WOBA is 453. Now, to put that into some sort of context here, Ty Cobb's career WOBA was 445. Miguel Cabrera, when he won the Triple Crown, his WOBA was 417. Chiz is at 453. All right, the batting average on balls in play is ridiculous. It's about 422 for his career. It's 300. The league leader in batting average on balls in play last year was Chris Johnson at 394, and there we have Chiz at 422. He's never had 500 plate appearances in an MLB season. He's a career 272 hitter. There's no way he's going to keep up this pace for the rest of the season. If I was going to, give him a healthy line the rest of the way, I'll say he hits 270, 280, 10 to 15 homers and 35 to 40 RBI.
Yeah.
That's pretty good to have on your roster, but he's not going to have a WOBA, better than Ty Cobb the rest of the season. I can see picking him up, but if I own him, I'm going to see what I can get for him. The regression fairies are angry, Lonnie Chisenhall, and they're coming for you.
So I think it's fair to say Lonnie Chisenhall probably, if we're looking at drafting next year in 2015, 270 hitter, 22, 25 homers, 85-ish RBIs. I mean, I think that's probably what he is.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, so if someone is buying, I would be selling. Next on our Jam or Cram list is Detroit Tiger prospect turned regular Nick Castellanos. Been waiting for this guy to really emerge. What is the story with Mr. Nick?
This guy, he could turn into what Lonnie Chisenhall is doing right now. He was hitting in the 230, 250 range, but over the last week he's hitting over 470, and that pushes the average up to 265 on the year. He's got 5 homers, 21 RBI, and a steal. He's owned about 30%. But think of it, like this. He's having a better year than Manny Machado and Carlos Santana, and they're both over 80% owned. I like having a bat like Castellanos on a couple of my teams. It helps out. I made a real effort this year when drafting to have a couple of bench bats that can play a couple positions to, maximize the at-bats over the course of the year. You see someone on your roster sitting there like Nick Castellanos. You're not going to play him every day. But when, your regular third baseman, say your own Longoria or whatever, is sitting out that day, you can slide him in there and you're not going to, you might pick up a few RBI, a few homers over the course of the year. And that's pretty useful stuff. So I'd say over the rest of the season, he hits 8 to 12 homers, knocks in 35, 40 runs. I'll give him a jam.
Yeah, okay. It was kind of a mild jam. Listen, a really good point you brought up, and I think that's something that's often overlooked. I mean, we're always trying to chase innings, make sure we get our maximum starts and our maximum innings. But Rudy Gamble, who will be on the show tomorrow on Friday the 13th, if nothing happens, fingers crossed, he is the brains behind Razzball. And, well, I shouldn't say that. Gray's going to get upset with me. He's the numbers guy. He's the CFO of Razzball. And one thing he keeps saying, and he really hits on this, is you're trying to get your innings, but you're not maximizing your game started for your hitters. And so it's a really good point you got. I mean, usually, I like to have a guy like Martin Prado, not this year, obviously, but a guy who gives you a lot of positions that you can kind of, put in there on the days that your regulars are off. All right, we got a couple more minutes here. Let's do some real quick Jammer Crams. Let's talk Sagnoff. Steals ain't got no face. Dexter Fowler. What is the story?
Fowler's hitting about 500 over the last week with a homer, 7 runs, 3 RBI, but no steals. What in the name of Sagnoff is good? Why else would I own this guy?
Yeah.
Fowler, he's currently owned in less than 50% of the leagues, and he was off to a slow start, but he's been picking it up lately. He's hitting 347 over the last month. The on-base percentage has gone up. His average right now is about 285, 19 RBI, 6 steals. We'd like to see some more speed there. I think he'll pick up the pace on the steals now that he's permanently set in that leadoff position. I'll say he gets 15 to 18, maybe 20 the rest of the way.
Wow.
The Astros are 5th in the league in stolen bases. So I think Fowler's going to run a little bit here the rest of the way. He's kind of an unconventional platoony tune, you know what I mean? He's hitting 300 at home. He hits 220 on the road. But if you need runs, you need steals, you have the room, Fowler's a deep league Sagnoff starved jam.
You know what? I'll tell you this real quick. Dexter Fowler, is one of those guys I have just stopped buying in because he is fast, but he doesn't know how to steal a base. I think that's the real issue there. Real quick, we do have to go, Guru, but real quick, Jammer Cram, Tanner Rourke.
I really like Tanner Roark. He's another good outing from him last night. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, 4 Ks, no walks. That's his 10th quality start in 13 games. Now he only has 5 wins, but that's more the Nationals lineup in the early going than Roark's
All right, Guru,
arm.
we really do got to go. Jammer Cram on the Roark.
It's a jam.
Wow, all jam day. We love that. Okay, we'll be right back with first time on the show. He is our in-house underwear model. No joke. Tehol will join us next. Okay, we're back, and we are very pleased to be joined today by the prettiest man at Razzball. He is literally an underwear model by day, fantasy baseball geek at night. Here he is, all the way from Seattle, Tehol. What's up, Tehol?
What's up, big dog?
Just so you know, good? I don't think you're that pretty. I think it's just that chiseled jaw, that maybe the eyes too. Man.
To each their own.
If we only had female watchers, listeners, readers.
We got 1.
We got 4. Actually.
4. Okay.
So seriously, Tehol at TeholBedic47 on Twitter is really an underwear model, and I don't know why he works with us. But let's test your fantasy baseball.
The money.
Now.
That's for the pay.
All right, let's test your fantasy baseball knowledge, Tehol. We're going to talk some players that are under-owned, so guys that you should probably have, or at least consider squeezing onto your roster if you can. And we're going to start at the top with a guy. I'm going to come out of the gates here and blow your credibility because you've got Domonic Brown. And if you're a regular Razzballero, you know that Tehol is obsessed with Domonic Brown. He had a great year last year. No, he's not a very good baseball player. So tell me, Tehol, why Domonic Brown should be on your fantasy baseball team?
Not a good baseball player. This dude is becoming the Rodney Dangerfield of fantasy baseball.
Yeah, he's a joke. You're right.
He gets no respect. How are people turned on him so quick? This guy carried people all last season. The dude, he's killed it. His minor league statistics are incredible. The guy's been lights out. He had a great year last year. I think one of the things is he really worked on hitting the ball out to left field. And I feel like he's almost focusing on that too much. And then as I've been complaining all season about Sandberg, I don't like where he's at in the lineup. I don't like anything they're doing in Philadelphia. It's a joke out there. It's a disgrace what they're doing.
Are you dating Domonic Brown's sister or something, or do you owe him money?
I wish. I'm sure she's got an incredible physique, and I'm sure we'd have
pull it back
athletic
easy.
Children. I'm all for it. I'm sure she's great. She has a sister. I'd like to meet her. This guy, I'm ordering his jersey. I'm getting it. I'm a believer. If if the return to glory will happen, it's just a question of who's smart enough to own him before this goes down. He's that good. I'm sick of it, man. He's 6'5", 220, gazelle.
I think he's one of those guys that looks good in the batter's box, but I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I don't think Domonic Brown should be owned unless you're absolutely desperate. Well, we'll see. Okay, well, let me ask you this: what's his line rest of the year? Average homers. Let's just do average homers
from this point forward.
Yes, that is rest of season.
I'm putting him in. I'm putting him in for about a strong 270 and probably 15 jacks, bro. It's coming.
Right. Let's talk about a player
that's low. That's low.
All right, let's talk about a player that is a guy that I really like, Adam Eaton, ex of the D-backs, now a Chicago White Sox. He's a gritty player. Tell me why he should be on your roster.
Well, first off, I'm pretty disappointed with him thus far. I expected kind of like an all-star, almost all-star caliber season from the guy. And, he's done a nice job getting on base and scoring a decent amount of runs considering I got to think it's the injuries. He's been dinged up. I think that's part of what's kind of been affecting his play a little bit. At least I hope so, with 5 caught stealings and only 5 steals and 5 caught stealing. I mean, 50% of the time is not cutting it at the leadoff spot. I mean, he's only got 1 jack. He's got a little more power than that. I was expecting, especially in the hitter's ballpark, I was expecting, possibly 10 to 15 even over in there with closer to 280, 290 average. He's in 255 right now, which just, it's disappointing. But I feel like he's got the makeup and the physical attributes and skill to turn this around easily and maybe hit closer to 300 the rest of the way, get a couple more jacks and get those injuries cleared up and get the speed back on. I like him a lot. I've liked him a lot for a few years now, and it started out great, and he's kind of faded a little bit. But I think with Abreu back in the lineup, everything, they got nice hitters ballpark, nice lineup. He should be. I like a turnaround there, and he's dropped way down in ownership.
Okay. You are, of course, based in Seattle, and if you're a fantasy football fan, hopefully you've heard about this. If you haven't, you need to. This August, I am taking out the Razz Mobile. That's right. We've got a 2014 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van. It is our rolling studio. We're going to host, 32 fantasy football drafts, 32 straight days in all 32 NFL cities. Come out and join us. Get your tickets at razzballradio.com. Just click the top banner. You're in Seattle, where we kick off on August the 4th. So you get to watch a lot of Taijuan Walker. Now, Taijuan Walker might be my Domonic Brown. I'm obsessed with this guy. I think he could be one of those second-half guys that just explodes onto the scene. Tell me I'm right.
Nick, you're 100% right.
Hey, I don't hear that very often, especially at home.
Yeah, I want to say that van is looking clean. I'm jealous that you get to go around. That's looking real nice. I'm enjoying following that Twitter page. It's getting exciting. But yeah, you're dead on with Taijuan, man. He's been hot prospect around these parts for a few years now. I mean, he's 6'4", 210, the mid-90s gas, decent curveball, and he's probably the most athletic pitcher like possibly ever. I mean, people talk about this guy like he could start in the NBA tomorrow, like he is a freak. I'm thinking the shoulder's okay. I'm thinking everything's working out, and he looked pretty good in his last minor league start. A couple solo jacks, but that was it. Threw around 80 pitches. He should be back. I think he's going to do one more start possibly in the minors, which they're making you activate him now if you've had him on your DL slot like I have all freaking year long. And everyone I've advised in drafting him, I just feel like an idiot. But I think he's going to make up for that now, and he's going to, he's coming into a decent situation. The Mariners are above expectations right now, and I like that to continue and only get better.
So, listen, we got to wrap up, Tehol. Thanks for joining us today on Razzball Radio. On tomorrow's show, we'll have Rudy Gamble, of course, the brains behind the operation here. He will join us. But one real quick note, Tehol. A, looking forward to seeing you August the 4th in Seattle. B, next time you come on, let's. I think the heavens have opened up. It's very bright in there. I guess they've opened up the heavens to look at your face.
I got the window here is just the sun is just blaring in my eyes right now. Sorry about that.
A rare sunny day in Seattle. All right, thanks again for joining us at Razzball Radio today. I'm at Nick Capozzi on Twitter. He is at TeholBedic47. We're out of here. See you tomorrow, people.
Thanks, buddy.